Hey guys, welcome back to LS Vintage Design. How's everyone doing? Today we are here to talk about a vintage New Year's. And you might be going, okay, you're a little late. This is this week. How can I plan this that fast? It's easy. It's easy because honestly, to have a vintage New Year's, you don't have to actually have a lot of vintage items. Let me explain. You can create a vintage bar with crystal. Do you have a bar set already? Use that. Mix vintage cocktails. What are some vintage cocktails? Well, you have an old fashioned, a Manhattan, probably a couple more that I'll list on the screen that I can't remember right now. So make vintage cocktails. Then you're mixing vintage with modern. You have your modern bar set with your vintage cocktails. Or you can go to your local antique malls, thrift stores, and look for vintage bar sets. I have 2 in my Etsy shop. They will not get to you in time for New Year's. But if you want to host a vintage type of speakeasy in the rest of 2026, go check those out. Or if you just want to see what a vintage bar set looks like, go look on my Etsy site just to see what one can look like. Something else that can make your New Year's vintage is dress. Head to your thrift store and get some cute flapper dresses. You can get those long dresses that look like the 20s with the bucket hats. You could get bucket hat. There are a lot of options for a vintage New Year. You just have to think outside of the box. Also, a vintage menu. Now, I talked about this in years past, and I'm going to put the link above. I laid out a whole New Year's vintage menu. All kinds of different hors d'oeuvres, both some crazy, some modern, but they will give you an idea of vintage food. Now lastly, for a vintage New Year's, you're going to need games. Yes, back in the day, New Year's wasn't all about, you know what I mean? It was about being with friends and celebrating a new year. So some vintage games. So some vintage game ideas on New Year's for you are right here. So guys, I hope you have a safe and happy New Year's. And I'll have a video for you on January 1st talking all about our upcoming vintage goals. I'll see you then. Bye guys.